More than a more than a dot.
Welcome to More Than a Dad podcast. I'm your host, Dre Moore. I got my guy, Lou Mobley, here with me.
What's good?
What up, bro? We want to shout out Athens, Alabama. We see y'all in the downloads.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. I got a fast five for you, bro. You ready?
No, I'm not.
You not ready?
Yeah.
It's kind of light, man.
You sure?
I heard people like this. They feel like they get to know us.
Oh, all right.
I got on here. Let's do Martin versus Fresh Prince. Who you taking?
Martin.
Taking Martin.
For sure.
If you had to skydive or scuba dive, what would you prefer?
Skydive.
If you had to take a flight or a cruise?
For travel purposes or just like vacation?
Yeah.
I've never been on a cruise, so I'll say cruise. I've been on planes.
Baseball or football?
Football. Even though I've been watching baseball a lot lately.
Benz or BMW?
Benz.
All right, man. How's dad life, bro? It's been a minute.
Dad life is cool. What's been going on in my dad life?
Kindergarten.
Man, kindergarten. Listen, man, kindergarten is nuts, bro. Like I don't think we're gonna make it through kindergarten. I had actually. It's funny too, because like last week, Ash was like acting up in kindergarten, and they couldn't like get him to calm down or nothing like that. And so they called me, and like we don't live that far from his kindergarten, so I went over there, and I ended up sitting in the classroom with him for 2 hours.
Really? Like during the school day?
Yeah, like with the kids, talking to the kids.
Can you get him to do stuff the teachers can't?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he did his work while I was there. He wasn't doing the work before I got there. But he definitely did his work when I got there.
You know how like last year and the years before, he was like a little bit of trouble in daycare, and it was like they ain't gonna have a choice once they get to kindergarten. Is that still how you feel?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, they don't. I mean, they can't really like put him out. Like if it was a situation where like he couldn't go there, then like like they would have to find him an alternative. Like they gonna have to pay for some like for him to go to a different school or find an alternative school for him to go to. So the difference in daycare was like once if they didn't want to deal with him, then they just was gonna put him out.
They didn't need your money. Your money wasn't good there.
Nah, not for that, I guess. Not in that aspect.
Dad life for me is cool, man. My kids really love each other. I think that's like real big for me.
Right.
Like they see each other in daycare. They like see he stop and go hug his sister and everything. But at home, she's a terror to him. You know what I mean? I said a joke the other day. I was like, "Yo, Manny needs security from Osa in the crib, bro. Everything he gets, she take. She pulling on his locks. She tackling him. She biting him.
That's crazy.
She needs protection, bro. Like, one thing, like, the toys is an issue. It's like, if she get a toy, he think it's his toy, too. And vice versa. And he be trying to have all these things. Like, I can play with your stuff, but you can't play with my stuff.
Yo.
So,
stingy.
Bro, Manny don't be playing, bro. Manny hilarious. He's so smart. Like, he be like, you gotta stop fighting, family. he like the most mature person in my house, man. I love it.
Yeah, that's wild.
What would you want to get into today?
We was talking about you had about a conversation that you was having with another person about like the expectations of like fatherhood, adulthood, marriage, and like versus like what's real. Like when you're not really in these situations and you haven't actually lived it to experience it, you have a totally different outlook on what you think it's going to be like.
Right. So I was having this conversation with Quasi, and Quasi's not married and doesn't have kids. So I was telling him, like, I think it's normal as a human to expect expect the best of it. Not to say that you're blind to the bad, but once you start living in it, you don't realize there are things that you didn't foresee.
Right.
So I guess gave him examples. It's like, you buy a new car. Like, say I buy a new Jeep Wrangler, and in your head, you thinking, I'm going to off-road this. I'm going to be busting through the snow with it. I'm up and down the highway, date night with my lady.
Right.
And the reality is, that's transportation. That's pick up and drop off for them kids.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing when you buy a house. You think like, damn, I can't wait to get a man cave. I can't wait to put a deck in the backyard. And it's like, no, you have too many kids, man. That man cave might become a playroom. If wifey be like, man, that might be better suited as a playroom,
Yeah,
nursery or something. You know what I mean? It's
that's a
over.
fact.
It's the same thing in your backyard. You thinking like, man, I'm gonna have deck, pool, and it's like, no, I want swing sets.
The things change. You know, it's like we had to pivot. You know, like how when we started, like even with anything, like it's just a life thing in general. Like you're gonna come into some sort of like pitfall, roadblock, something that's gonna change actually the way you look at a situation. I think we go into all situations for the most part, because some things you go into like unoptimistically. But I think for the most part, we go into everything optimistically until something changes.
And I think he was mad at me because I was like, man, you know, I love being a dad. I love everything about my real life.
Right.
But there are points and times where like being a dad is kind of ass. It's ass to be like, it's ass to think like, I'm being serious, like to be last, like this is my norm, is that I'm last behind people all the time.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like if you had to vote, where would you be at? You wouldn't be like, I'm gonna be the last person to board the plane.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much how life is as a grown adult and as a man. Like you're last, you're in service. You know, like as a man, you'd be like, yo, I got the job I wanted, I got the crib I wanted, I got the car I wanted, I got the lady I wanted, and then you want to chill, and it's like so much more work to do beyond that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you come home from work all day, you tired, man. I'm in my cash, so I got this big old mortgage, and it's like things to do. You're not even using these things how you thought they would be. He was like, Quaz was like, man, you being negative, you know, like your expectations. You must be living in a fairy tale. It's not a fairy tale. It's, you know what it is. I didn't think I would have to go hide in the bathroom for peace from my kids.
Right. Yeah, especially coming from like, you know, like it's a drastic change. That like Quaz living like by itself. So like, and you kind of lived the same life prior to you like having a family. So like, when you come from living totally by yourself, and now like when you eat, you're not just responsible for yourself eating. You gotta make sure everybody else eat. Don't let you come in here with food and then bring food for nobody else.
Bro, if you go to Chick-fil-A, I might eat
Right.
$12 to $15 of Chick-fil-A myself, right? We go with the family, that joint like $40, $50.
It's a whole different ordeal. So like when you come from like I think more so what you were speaking to is saying like there are like a lot of pros to this. Like there's a lot of pros to like having a family, having kids. It's great times. We're not even gonna act like it's all terrible. But I think when you're actually starting that, you're not thinking about like how much sacrifice like it's really gonna be, or you don't really know what the sacrifice is gonna be until placed in that situation, because everybody has different requirements, wants, and needs.
Right.
So it's going to look different for every person.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you buy the house you want, you don't think like, dang, my happy place in here is going to be the bathroom when I'm dropping the deuce. Because ain't nobody supposed to bother me until they get big enough to turn the doorknob.
Yeah, they definitely going to bother you. You got to keep the door locked.
You know, like, I think I said this before, like, you know, like, I write and stuff, and I like, you know, like, I be needing to concentrate to be creative.
Right.
And then you in a house where she might be on the phone, loud, they loud, can't concentrate. But when you lived alone, when you was a single man, it's like, oh, I could take a nap, I could get up, I could write my stories and my poems, and like, you know, and it just be whatever. It just, if I needed to concentrate on some work, I need to do some homework. It was just always a available time to do it. It was always quiet. Now I gotta make sure I get stuff done while they at daycare and at work, or when they go to bed. Like, I don't even try to do anything purposeful when they there.
Yeah, no, I know, because I'll be calling you, like, even when we be talking, like, podcast stuff and stuff, I'll be like, yo, you busy? And it'd be like the kids running around, like, yo, I'm going to have to talk to you later. And then we end up talking about it at, like, 1 in the morning. 1 in the morning. Yo, 1 in the morning being, like, our pie brainstorming time is insane.
Everybody asks me, like, do y'all do production meetings and stuff? I'm like, yeah, like, midnight.
Yeah, midnight for sure.
Midnight, call Dre.
1 in the morning. Like.
Yeah, bro, like, you called me the other night. It was super late. You like, what you doing? I'm like, man, I'm doing my work.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're working for the job. I'm like, yo, when are you not working? Like, it's crazy.
No, I wanted to get into like, some of the optics of parenting. We already kind of talking about like the reality versus what it's really like. So like, people always compliment our pictures of our kids, like our regular pictures, our photo shoot pictures.
Right.
And I wanted to get into like you explaining some of like the optics of being a parent and having to do all the purchasing and setting up and the coordinating these things.
Yeah, I think people don't really. All you see a lot of times is just like the end result. So it's like if you never really like plan a big party or like a big event or something, like you don't really understand the amount of work and preparation that goes into that. So you
Right.
just see these things and it's just like you get the parents like, oh, it's your kid's first birthday party and you need to be doing X, Y, and Z, going all out, and it's just like you kind of just want to come to a nice birthday party,
Right.
not really taking into consideration like what it's actually gonna take to like plan and entertain and do these things is really a lot. And then at the end of, and then on top of that, even like in stuff like that, like even like first birthdays, like kids are like little, they can't even really do much.
Right.
So like you really throwing these things for
Your guess.
your guests and other people. And I just think that like sometimes like people just look at like the fun aspect of like, yo, I'm gonna be a dad or I'm gonna be a mom, it's gonna be fun. And like, yo, it's a lot of work that go into that, like behind the scenes. It's really a whole lot of work that's people aren't really like accounting for unless you, like I said, unless you're actually like in
Man, top 5 birthday party planning tips.
it.
Try not to do it at home.
Right.
For setup and breakdown and clean up, you don't really want to do them things. I guess if you're in a budget, that's what you're gonna be working with from a home standpoint. Get yourself like it may not have to exactly land on your kid's birthday. Say your kid's birthday on a Wednesday, like have it be plan the week
Right.
before or the week after. You know what I'm saying? The weekend after, like planning it on a good day that people can actually come is important. Most people can probably travel on the weekends. Don't Friday evening is not good. Wednesday evening is not good for a
Right.
turnout. You know what I'm saying? Think about food. I know the last thing I want to do planning the kid's birthday is be in there cooking or on a grill. But people will volunteer you, yo, we're gonna do hot dogs and hamburger. I'm not cooking on the grill on the
Right.
day I'm supposed to be celebrating my kid taking pictures. Don't sign yourself up to have all these jobs. The decorator, the person that's leading the kids through the activities, the cook, don't sign yourself up for them things. That's the next point.
Right.
Be prepared for bad weather.
Right.
Can you transition this party inside or outside, depending on the weather?
That's true.
And at the end of the day, man, is the final thing is number 5 will be focus on your kid having fun. If you
Right.
do all this outside the box stuff and the guests all not having a good time, it don't matter. If you look over your kid smiling, that's
So
about
it's
it.
a win.
That's a
It's
win.
definitely a win.
Because like Osa party, we tried to do it at home because we were trying to conserve. The problem we have is that our kids' birthdays are 3 weeks apart.
Right.
So I'm thinking she said that we're gonna just start having one party for the both of them in between that time and do like birthday days, like we would take them to dinner or out to like a kids cafe lunch type of thing. Cause they tend to enjoy that, but like just one party because like her family's traveling from New York, the Poconos, my family's traveling Philly, Delaware, Jersey.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just
Get everybody to go.
it's hard to like, yo, I need you to come up this time and then early next month too.
Right.
Like it's too much, right? So I just think the day that she planned, she was trying to decorate and like coordinate. Hey, I'm ordering chairs and tables. I'm ordering like rings and stuff to decorate with like a balloon. I don't know that's
No, balloon arch.
balloon arch. And she was trying to do it, and it's like she was doing it so long, she never really got dressed for the party.
Right.
And it's like one thing I also would say about having parties is people, like you said, people like to be guests. Nobody want to come there
that's
and
a fact. Yeah.
like you got aunties who love being aunties but won't show up to like blow up some balloons.
Yeah, as I said, it's a lot of work behind the scenes. All people see is like the end result. Like I said, like even like y'all do a lot of the photo shoots and stuff, and it's just like what goes into like planning an outfit, picking a location, and doing all of that stuff. Like that day, I'm sure it's hectic. Getting Osa hair done, making sure Manny's hair is done, like
one day, we shot Manny superhero, and sorry to cut you off.
No, you good. Man.
We shot Manny superhero pictures in Osa's like sweet one when she eating the candy and then ice cream and all that. We didn't bring a chair, so we was in the middle of a park, like basically in the woods of the park. And we changing outfits, and he like naked in the woods. Nobody could sit him down on their lap or nothing. It was just no chair. We ain't had no chairs. We just sitting down.
Right.
If you look at the pictures, Manny don't even want to put his feet on the ground because he got to step on like acorns and the pine from the trees.
Right.
So you look at him in the chair reading the comics, he like not really even. But if you take the picture, it look like he's excited, like he's like.
Right.
But in real life, I know.
Right.
He didn't want to put his feet on the ground. His feet felt weird being on the ground at the park. But JL is our photographer. Shout out JL. You know what I mean? Get with JL if you need any of your birthday pictures, wedding pictures. He just do everything for real. He's amazing. He do video and everything. He's amazing. But we go to JL all the time because he has now a relationship with our kids. So when he's trying to get them to make faces and be serious or whatever, he can do it because it's not like a stranger. Like you just go into the mall and we took pictures behind the backdrop.
Right.
But planning them outfits and like, oh snap, he need his hair. You gotta brush his, like, did I bring a brush? Did I bring some grease? Did I bring, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like also a little girl, like baldy might fall out and like, you know, all having all that. To me, leaving the house as a parent, you be forgetting everything. Like, damn, I forgot wipes, or I forgot a diaper, or I forgot a.
Man, I leave the whole bag.
You know what I mean? But that's, to me, it is a lot that go into it, especially if that's what you want. Like I love having the pictures for myself, but I also love the reaction of people that they look at it. Like, you know, we were just up at IUP and somebody came up to me like, oh my God, I love Manny's 4th birthday superhero pictures. And it's like, I don't even remember your name, but thank you for,
right.
Like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's a lot to go into it, especially if you want them to have quality memories. Like, that's one thing about pictures. They always have them.
Right, forever. That's
okay.
okay.
We wanted to talk about this. This is the investment on, like, your kids, and are they matching that investment with their effort?
Right.
So we talked about, like, parents in sports and, like, you paying for all these things.
Right.
Personal trainers, equipment, trips, and you feel like your kids is putting in half-ass effort.
Right. Minimal effort.
So, you know, just give me your take on how you feel about investing on your kids. And
I think you have to aim high. So like, because I don't want to aim too low, and then I'm kind of stunting your growth. Like I'm stunting your potential because like I set the bar too low for you. So like I'm big on kind of setting the bar too high. Like we're gonna overinvest, and if you just miss the mark on it just because that's who you are as a person, then I just have to live with that and accept that. But that's my investment on you. Like I don't want to underinvest with my kids, and then I sold you short. Like I cut you short. Like I feel like, you know, like even in me, like when I was coming out of high school, like I wanted to go to the Air Force, and you know, like my mom didn't want me to go. My dad wanted me to go, but my mom didn't want me to go, so she wasn't in approval of it. So it ended up not happening.
Right.
In that instance, like you kind of sold me short because you put your fears on me. In that instance, so like I say that her investment in that wasn't high. So like when I say things like, you know, like Dre goes to, you know, Catholic school, he'll continue, like we have a Catholic high school lined up for him to go to, like, you know, like we're investing in his education. Now whether he decides to do something with his education at the end of the day or not, I can't control that. Right. But I laid the foundation and the groundwork, and hopefully he gets there. And if he doesn't get there, then like, you know, like I did my part. But I wouldn't want to say I don't want to pay for him to go to school because I don't want to invest that and send him to a lesser school, and like he really might be a brainiac or something. He really could be genius level, but I sold him short on that because I didn't want to invest that in my kid. So I think you have to overinvest, and then if it lands lower than that, it just lands lower than that.
It just sucks because I think we look at certain kids like on television or Instagram, and I want my kid to be like that. Right. And it's like, well, you not really invested at that level, so where are they going to learn to like appreciate what's invested on them?
Right.
You know, like I don't think we sitting here just dreaming of like with my kids. I don't feel like I'm wishing upon a star for some level of greatness. I think our motto is real, like exposure equals expansion.
Right.
So what you see, you know, we exposed them to everything. Like Manny played tennis. Like Manny's been to a tennis court, but I never played tennis until I met my wife.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was always basketball at the schoolyard or tackle football on the concrete. Like Manny don't even like I'm as much as I'm a football dude. Like Manny don't really
They don't do nothing for it.
it don't do nothing for him. He likes soccer
Right.
by himself. You know what I mean? But they also teach it at school. They have somebody come and teach soccer. But the investment on him and just exposing him to things like for fun, it ain't always video games, tablet, ice cream at readers or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like we go to museums and stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? The investment on him is high. Like his thoughts, like he impressed me with his thought. Like you, like Manny now, Daddy, how you spell Halloween? I said, what you mean? I want to search it on my tablet. Spell
Right.
Halloween for me, Daddy.
Right.
Like he's like his thoughts are like nobody know like the work he's putting. I was singing the alphabet to Manny since he was probably 3 months old, singing the
Right.
alphabet to him, counting with him. And the longer I did it, the more he got 1 to 3, 1 to 5. Manny counted 100
Right.
before he was 4 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, you know what I mean? Reading books to, like, I was reading books, same thing I'm doing with Osa now. Like as a parent, can you commit to reading a book a day to your kids? 2 books a
That's a
day?
lot.
Like, Manny got quote unquote homework, and he don't get homework from daycare or school yet, or pre-K. He don't get homework, but my wife be in there and really got workbooks for him.
Real sergeant.
You know what I mean? And she do stuff like if she feel like his response is getting delayed, like if he like too into his tablet or he too into just playing, she'll be like, oh yeah, it's time to take that tablet. Let's go do some workbooks.
Right.
And the funny thing is, he like learning so much. Like sometimes she be taking a tablet from me, and I'll be looking at the tablet. It be like educational stuff.
Yeah.
Like it don't even always be like some entertaining. Like she considered him like watching Spider-Man like entertaining, and like it doesn't have no educational purpose. But half the time she go and take the tablet from me, he learning about bugs, learning about animals, learning about science. Like he just inquisitive, but that come from her. Like she a science major, like she had a biology major and
Right.
stuff. So she buying all this. She in school right now. She buying all these anatomy things like the skull, the body. He all investigating them. Like like man, he might really be like a scientist or something, bro. Like or cure cancer or something. Cause like it's she big on STEM.
Yeah.
Like-
And that's why the investment has to be high though in order to match that to unlock that potential. Because if you don't invest that, whether it could be money, time, energy, anything. If you don't invest that in your kids, we never know. Like you might miss something because you didn't provide him with that platform to be able to do those things.
We used to do like projects with Manny, like in our house. Like I used to build things with him out of like cardboard boxes.
Right.
We was ordering off of Amazon crazy in the pandemic, so we just had all these Amazon boxes. At some point, I thought I was moving to Cali, so we were saving them. But like, I called this glue, staples, and something architects. Cardboard architects. So we was in there building. I was building ranch for his Hot Wheel cars and stuff out of cardboard boxes, or we built the one big car out of a cardboard box, and he was like in it, acting like he was driving. We paint it, we color it. It was just trying to be cool. Like she was doing experiments with him, like dropping stuff in test tubes and watching it bubble up. Like his mind is being fed differently.
Right.
My mom would take us to the beach. She would take us to the movies, take us to the arcade, and that's cool. Like we had a parent to do that. I'm grateful for that. But from like Manny's not raised where like I gotta play basketball real good to get us out the hood.
Right. Right.
Just go make something of yourself. You know what I mean? The investment on you, your only obligation to me is just to make something of yourself.
Right.
What that look like? You could overinvest, underinvest, or use all of it, use none of it. As your parent, I think my job is just to expose you to as much as I can because I don't know everything.
That's a fact.
So I want to piggyback off this conversation. We was having this conversation with one of our close friends about like schools, and I was like, put your kid in the best schools and your trajectory just to keep on going up, because the investment is at that level.
Right.
And he was like, no, I don't think I'm gonna put them into the best schools until around high school. And I was like, I think you're gonna miss all the early resources.
You're gonna miss the building blocks because it's a step. It's a step by step. It's a step up. Like we putting things on top of. We putting blocks on top of blocks. You know what I'm saying? So like if I start you off early, then we're building on that. If I don't start you off with that foundation early, and then I just expect to just throw you to the wolves essentially. I don't think like that's conducive. I don't think that that's like that's a good thing. Like just how we talk about like even with like languages, like I said, like in public school, like we didn't get language until high school, and like I know like Dre has been having languages since the whole time he's been in middle school. So it's like by the time he gets to high school, they're building on that language now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like especially if you keep them in the same caliber of schools, that language is being built upon. So like it definitely matters because like if I never did it before, like I've never did it my whole entire life, and then I get to high school and it's like, well, we're gonna teach you how to speak Japanese. It's like
one thing that people don't even see, like two things. So we always think financial, like I can't afford Catholic school, or I can't afford the house in the neighborhood with the best public school.
Right.
So we think financial, and we stunt our growth a little bit there. But like the benefits are like, even if your son is the mid-tier kid, or your son or your daughter is the mid-tier kid in her class, but her peer group is more elite because they're in a more elite school.
Right.
Now you what they say, the best of the 5 people you closest to.
Right. Yeah.
So like you forget about like little things like that. Like your kid may not be the smartest kid in class, but he could think what he want to be because the people around him are thinking forward and want to be great things.
Right.
If everybody around me want to be a doctor, if I land on being a nurse, that's kind of like a good quality.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you're in a school where them conversations are not even being had, or like kids are still, like I remember being in high school at some point, kids were still kind of like, I don't know what I want to be. Granted, I'm not what I said I wanted to be in real life, but
I don't think we know for a long time.
Right, but the aspiration of it.
Right. Yeah.
When you start talking doctor, lawyer, that comes with expectation of A's.
Right.
Not really B's.
Planting the seeds early.
So to me, like, don't cheat your kids out of this fear of, I could put all this in them and they can turn out bad still. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. We do that every day. Like, anything could happen. If you want to talk woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Right, that's a fact. It's definitely always like that.
The investment just has to be higher, man.
Yeah, that's real.
No, what else you want to get into, bro?
I think that's it, bro.
You think that's it?
I think that's it, bro.
Man, the reality of
invest
parenting.
in your kids.
Invest in your kids.
Invest in your kids. If you don't do nothing else, invest in your kids. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna pay off.
It's crazy because COVID had us running the crypto and the stocks like we knew what we was doing. And then some of us scared to like.
Some people lost a lot of cheese.
Right, you putting $5,000 down on some crypto. Why don't you put $5,000 down on the school your kid go to?
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact. Definitely invest in your kids. They're the future.
Yes, sir. Well, guys, the support has been unbelievable, man. We are still building our dad community one dad at a time.
That's a fact. Pass it off to a parent.
Pass it off to a parent, man. We more than a dad network for real, man. So,
all right.
Come check us out, man. Thank you for the support.
Until next time.
Join the More Than a Dad family by following us on Instagram, subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to join our Facebook group for daily questions, motivation, dad jokes, and new dad tips. If you enjoy our podcast, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to like, comment, and share our content with other parents. Last but not least, make sure you check out our new merch. The link is in the bio of our Instagram as well as the description of this YouTube video. We are truly grateful, and thanks for supporting More Than a Dad.
More than a dad. More than a dad.